Jeremy Taylor, the Brit on the radio, and your Luggles. Let me gently introduce an amusing application of elusive alliteration used with pointed, pungent perspicacity, a thrilling threnody of rapturous, rippling rumbustiousness. Our full panel for tonight. Oh, yes.
I must interrupt. I am sorry. This has gone on way too long. It's been a year now. What the hell is in your Luggos?
You don't know what lug holes are? Oh, everybody knows that. What is it?
Pin back your Luggles.
I have no idea what that means.
This is a Luggo.
Extremely
That is a
sexy Bulgarian
Talking
man.
about ears?
Ears, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All
right. In that case, you may proceed.
I've forgotten where I was now.
I didn't know you were speaking Elvish.
Okay, Luggles.
Now you're introducing people.
Luggles. Right.
If we just say hi each,
like
we can
ear
get it over
holes?
with.
The
Hello.
indefatigable and indomitable Kathleen Taylor.
Hi.
A man once thought lost to legend and more recently resurrected, Jason Springer now.
JT, what's good?
What's up? The marvel of that marvel of female bohemian sophistication, Jane Carter.
Hello.
I love it.
He's always making fun of me for not saying
Yeah.
The Transylvanian Dark Lord of Literature and Pheromones, Dr. Ivanov.
Guten Abend, Herr Taylor. Ja.
Sprechen in Deutsch.
Was machen Sie, Herr
Yeah.
Taylor?
I suddenly feel
Du bist
uncomfortable.
eine große Idiotin in meine kleine Trabanten.
Und keine Eier.
Die und Van Zaten.
You want to borrow my Trabant?
Ja.
And guesting on our panel, just Josh, who's been here
Good
many
evening.
times.
Good evening.
Will you... don't be boring. Come on, do something better. Good evening. This is not some NPR panel game, you know?
But
Get down.
you are British.
That's his
and,
personality.
you know,
Not
how can
everybody
I
can be an angry German.
All
one.
right.
Yeah, everybody's got something to say. Like,
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf.
So, all right. Well, let's make a do. Make a start.
Excuse me for just a second. Excuse me. Hello. Down here on the end.
Forgot somebody.
Then there's this guy.
Kathleen. I did. I introduced Kathleen.
Son of a bitch. I am Dr. Orlando. Please proceed.
You know, this is a result because you interrupted him. This aggression will not stand, man.
No. Jason Springer now tried it with me a few months ago, and look what happened to him. So, our first question. Would the audience try and be a little quieter, please?
They didn't even.
I know they didn't hear. Would the audience try and be a little quieter, please? Thank you. Thank you. Trying to be recording things here. So, girls and boys.
Jamie's showing us middle fingers.
I'm really confused.
As they say in France,
So
pick any
angry.
two. Right. What pop star, girls and boys, would you like to bring back from the dead? What pop star would you like to bring back from the dead?
Well, that's a good one. I have not read the questions today, so I'm gonna let somebody else who's prepared.
I'll start.
Okay.
Can you guys guess?
Oh, Dr. Orlando wants to start.
I'm gonna guess Prince.
Yeah. Mhm.
Actually,
Michael
no.
Jackson.
No.
It's not Prince, believe it or not. It's Frank Sinatra.
I was gonna.
Come on. No.
He's
Not
a
Bing
pop
Crosby.
star?
Not Bing
No,
Crosby.
Or was a pop star?
No.
He was a pop star.
No.
Was not a pop star.
I guess it depends.
He was
how you define
100%.
pop.
Frank Sinatra sang pop music.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
Okay.
Because my answer's not. I don't know if you'd call him a pop star, but continue.
Yeah. So, I've read, at least 3 biographies on Frank. And the weird thing about him is that the mystique that you saw, either on film or, musical or on stage or whatever, seems to be true. He seemed to be the guy that he was playing. And so, for me, being able to bring him back and hang out with him would be... Okay, I'm going to step back, though. The problem with this question for me is that either you have to bring someone back that's from this time, or you are faced with finding out no matter how progressive or liberal the person that you're thinking is, you bring them back to this time and you find out how truly horribly oppressive they were. And so, whereas Frank Sinatra was, for his time, somewhat progressive in his racial ideas, like, I don't know that he would be able to deal with the society that we live in
I
today.
doubt it. Yeah.
Do you know the story about Las Vegas and the clubs?
The Sammy Davis Jr.?
Well, where he said that they wouldn't let him play. And he said, "Well, I guess I'm not going to play."
Right.
Then.
Yeah.
And then the mob got behind him and said, "I guess this is happening."
This is the way it's going to work. So yeah.
So I saw this documentary in 1984, back in 1984, and according to that documentary, Michael Jackson already was brought back from the dead and was a fantastic dancer. Did an incredible job. So I think that you don't need to bring him back. He's already been back from the dead, and he's proven he can dance and sing even when he's dead. So no Michael Jackson for me. Do I understand? Does that include rock music or only pop?
A pop star is someone who is a star of their time.
Yeah, of the popular culture and
Yeah.
popular music.
Yeah, popular music.
So rock music kind of qualifies, right?
Oh, yeah. it does.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we can only bring one person.
Yeah.
not just
One person.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to bring back all of Skinner, that's okay.
Oh,
Skinner.
Leonard Skinner? I don't know. I'll let him be. You know,
That's the Beatles.
I would probably. I want to kind of. I'm thinking about anybody from the 27 Club, because you pick one of those guys, and I'll tell you what. Frank Sinatra is a good idea, but he was already. He had already. I felt like he had already passed his prime. He had already said everything he had wanted to say. Whereas these guys were taken at their prime, outside of maybe Jim Morrison, who died at 27, but he was a washout. At this point, he was not going to make anything else.
Hang on.
But
Can I just clear up? I have someone completely. Did you just say Jim Morrison was a washout?
yes, because he was.
This, of course, for you was before the wall came down, so you wouldn't have known because you were in Bulgaria, weren't you?
Yeah.
Down a mine or something.
No, we were still listening to the Doors. But I feel like he had baked his brains, marinated it in drugs, and was already...
Are you forgetting about Keith Richards? Like, he's a prime example of somebody that's still living that has baked their brain. So why couldn't Jim Morrison?
Well, in terms of creativity, I feel like his muse was already exhausted.
Interesting.
I don't know if we can say the same about Kurt Cobain. I feel like he still had some juice left in him at 27. Janis Joplin. What about Amy Winehouse? It's really
Karen
tragic.
Carpenter.
27?
Karen Carpenter.
Jimi Hendrix.
This time I'd feed her. Yeah.
But I would
I'd
bring
be the opposite to Mama Cass. I wouldn't feed her.
Karen
soon.
Carpenter. Karen Carpenter
that was
was
awesome.
a great loss.
How about I would bring one person? I would bring back John Bonham, and I'll tell you why.
Bonzo.
Led Zeppelin is a very rare case of when one person leaves, the band is done forever, is gone, disbanded for good. And John Bonham, the second he died, Led Zeppelin was no more. And I felt it was too early for them. I felt like they had much more music to create, many more tales to tell.
You can say the same about Keith Moon as well, though.
But Rolling Stones are still, the Who are still playing, aren't they?
But again,
it's not the same.
It's not the same, man.
But at least, they're
But it's
trying.
not the same.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Keith Moon, was he 27? I don't know. But that 27 club's really disturbing. You think about Robert Johnson, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones.
I know you're
They were-
taking everybody else's answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Just Jane.
Actually, he didn't take mine. I'm going to probably be disappointing and definitely say David Bowie because he had a lot more left in him. So
David Bowie.
His last album was very strong.
one of my faves.
Just Josh. What do you think?
Honestly, I thought about this with Kurt Cobain, and I was really thinking about that could be, but also the dude from Sublime. He died way too early, and that was a great band. I can't think of his name. A great, fun band, and
Yeah. They had that Sangria song. Santeria.
Kathleen, who did you have?
Well, I looked into the very first pop stars, and I was thinking of oh God, Frank Sinatra's pal.
Dino?
No. White Christmas. What's his face?
Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby was really considered a pop star. But then your point came home to me. He probably would have meant White Christmas in a totally different way.
And it's so
you
depressing.
don't want to know these things about people.
Yeah, they say never meet your heroes. And it's like any of these people that you name, if they're not of this generation, you run this risk of like really being disappointed with who
I
you
could be
meet.
wrong, but
Yeah.
maybe not. It's not worth the risk. He can stay.
Okay, I have one I'm interested to see. Let's hear Jason. Have you done yet, Jason?
I've not. However, I will say, I mean, you guys have pretty much hit on all the good ones. Because I would have gone with Hendrix first and then Bowie. But then as you all were talking, and Josh, you brought up a good point when you said Sublime. I think I would probably pick Lane Staley, the front man for Alice in Chains, to come back, because he was somebody who,
my God.
kind of like what Evo was talking about, when one member of the band dies, the band goes on, but it's just never the same.
Never.
And Lane's impact on that band was just night and day, and so I'd probably have him come back, because he definitely had more to go.
We
One
have all
exception
without a
was
doubt.
AC/DC, because
Yeah.
when Bon Scott died, they found the guy that was exactly
That's true.
carbon copy.
we have all forgotten about Animal. How could that band be anything without Animal on the drums?
Oh, the Muppets.
Dead?
He's
Took me a minute. I'm like,
he's not dead.
By the
Okay,
way,
here's mine. And I just want to... This guy, I'm going to say, was a genuine pop star of his generation. Right? He was known all over the world.
He's going to say
And-
Liberace.
I'm not. I'm going to say...
He's going to say Davy Jones.
I'm not. I'm going to say Glenn Miller.
No, that's a good one.
that's a good
Yeah.
Because when I wrote this, the guy that was going through my mind was Glenn Miller. He died in his 40s.
yes.
You know, in a air accident. And where would he have gone if he'd got to the end of the war, come back, and then carried on creating music? Because he did create music. Where would he have gone into the 50s and possibly even 60s? Right? I mean, Glenn Miller in the early...
Yeah, he wouldn't have stopped. I mean, he would have kept going. He would have made
Right.
beautiful music.
Yeah.
he was
and,
a superstar of his time.
Absolutely.
That's right. And, he would have, back in the 40s, in 1942, if someone said Glenn Miller's in Lawrence, there would be tens of thousands of people would come and watch. They'd come here however they could.
Yeah.
Sort of like when Evo comes to town.
Well, a little bit, yeah. in
Yeah,
Sofia.
you know, you mentioned Keith Richards, and I was thinking how People magazine has, every year they have the sexiest man alive. Keith Richards should win the sexiest man almost alive.
We have a difficulty with that, don't we, Evo? Because we
Yes.
keep winning it, and people keep...
Oh yeah, I know.
You know,
I
it's
know. What
it's
can you do?
embarrassing.
Yeah.
All right, panel.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Panel. Olympics coming up very shortly. I'd like to know, what's your favourite, wait for it, unpopular, i.e. non-mainstream sport? What's yours and why? For me, it's curling. I can sit and watch... I have no idea why, but I can sit and watch curling all day long. Well, most of the day. And then I fall asleep and wake up again. But I love curling. I don't know anything
guys-
about it. Never played it. Wouldn't know how to do it.
So those guys that push the rock, it's called the rock, right, across the ice, and then you
Actually,
have
isn't it called the Stone?
the stone, yeah. So
sweeping, right?
And they're sweeping. There's two people sweeping in front. Do they really believe that they reduce traction or something? And can they please practice, train in my kitchen, especially in the summer when there's a lot of dust collecting in the kitchen? That would be fantastic.
They'd only make little paths this
At
way and
least
that.
Jeremy did not mention the fucking worst sport of all time called cricket. He keeps bugging me at the radio show with his cricket shit. Cricket, have you guys watched cricket?
No.
Has anybody?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, I
this
have.
is the most boring thing on the face of the earth. It goes sometimes, guys, it goes for 24 hours, and the teams they take tea breaks. Ew, I'm gonna get a tea break, a cup of proper tea. So annoying, so incredibly
and
boring. I would
sandwiches.
rather.
Hang on, and sandwiches.
And sandwich, of course, the cucumber
sandwiches.
sandwiches.
Yeah,
you British.
and
cucumbers,
don't you start with me, you horrible Bulgarian person.
Well, I would rather watch a single blade of grass slowly wither and die than watch 8 hours of freaking cricket. It's the most boring thing of all.
Did you not enjoy the cucumber sandwiches that we
Did
bought
somebody
in?
like hit you with a cricket bat when you were a child or
I
something?
would rather watch. I would rather watch slow motion replay of C-SPAN, 8 hours of slow motion replay of C-SPAN, than watch a fucking cricket game.
All right,
cricket.
so arsehole.
He's had enough. He's had enough.
I think we know what Evo's answer.
Dr. Orlando, what's your secret sport that you like to watch?
I thought about this question long and hard, and
For almost 30 seconds.
That's what she said.
couldn't figure out how to work that in.
That's just for you, buddy.
Good, well played.
That's out of respect for you.
I think probably, if I can't go with pro wrestling, then I gotta go with sumo.
Sumo?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that
Wait,
works.
why can't you go with pro wrestling?
I don't because it's not a sport.
it's not real?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like-
it's not a sport. It's sports
It's
entertainment.
becoming
agree with
mainstream,
that.
isn't it?
Well,
now?
it is long past becoming mainstream. It's about as mainstream as you can get when you have the biggest summer blockbuster star coming on to WWE to promote their show. That's a pretty good indicator that it's mainstream.
Sumo. So sumo is an actually very interesting sport. You basically have to push your opponent outside of a circle, and there's a lot of strategy and technique and wits that
Right.
go with it. It's not always about mass.
I heard a vicious rumor
Yeah.
that sumo wrestling, the winner's already set before.
So you think
Really?
it's
That's already
I've
set up.
actually never heard that.
Actually, I've heard that as well. That it's all fixed and
It's all
and
fixed.
very corrupt.
So,
and
yeah,
very
so they already
crooked.
know.
Really?
like
Well,
WWE
well.
wrestling is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
they have levels that you achieve as a sumo wrestler, and there's a grandmaster, and he has been Mongolian guy for a long time, and there was actually a Bulgarian guy. They are very protective of their traditions, and they don't allow foreigners, except for those two guys, that Bulgarian guy and a Mongolian guy that became really the highest level sumo wrestler, and they live in these like a stable. They live in a school where they eat and they live together. It's really bizarre. Interesting choice.
Josh, what's your sport
I guess-
off the grid sport?
I guess I wonder what are we considering mainstream sports, right?
There you go.
And I would want to know what that was first. Is that our football, baseball, basketball,
Yeah, things like that.
tennis?
Yeah.
Stuff that's on TV.
Okay, so
And you should know that you have an animal crawling into your eye right as we speak. And that's really quite interesting.
Did I get it?
It's still there. Can you see it?
or is it this over here? What? That's my weird thing on my head.
Oh, I thought it was an animal. I thought something was going to crawl into your eye.
No,
How embarrassing
I
for
know it's really
you.
weird.
And not for me.
Why would you?
So,
anyways,
what's your
Does
sport
anyone
then?
like my sports watch? Go on.
I loved how you were playing with it and got so bored with what Evo was saying that you're like, I'm going to look
No.
at this boring sports
He does
watch
that
while
a
he's
lot.
I
talking.
don't know
Yeah,
how
he
to
does,
make
yeah.
it work.
Yeah.
My sports
It's either wrestling, freestyle wrestling,
Freestyle.
or Olympic weightlifting.
These are not so unpopular.
Olympic weightlifting. That's
We
interesting.
just said what the popular ones.
Okay.
Were you not listening?
Okay.
Come on, Evo.
Come on.
This was, I agree with Josh. This
Yeah.
was my problem with this question, like from the beginning, because it's like, do I count chess as a sport? Like,
What about golf? Golf's not a sport.
Well, and
It's an activity.
Yeah, and so like these are all.
What about bowling?
Ooh, that's
Like,
good. I like
what
that.
about billiards?
Yeah.
Like
Billiards
what-
an activity too.
Yeah,
Is it a
so,
sport?
like-
What defines a sport?
No, I'm right there. With
See,
you.
I'm a huge, but I'm a mixed martial arts fan. But that's not a.
That's not. I would say that's not mainstream yet.
It's not.
I would say that it's not.
Oh, interesting.
Jeremy,
You
what?
saw a
Kath,
million
what's yours?
pay-per-views?
Well, my favorite non-mainstream is snooker. And it is in the UK a fairly mainstream when it's televised. It's great to nap to. But it's got angles and spin and speed of the ball and all sorts of numerical qualities that I love. As well as nice-looking gentlemen bending over tables, you know.
Oh,
She does like that.
Yeah, I do like that.
it's much better than fucking cricket. I would.
Okay, so
you know,
What about
look,
badminton?
Smarty Pants. Next
What about
time
badminton?
when we do the next show,
Yeah.
right? Before we do the Olympics, you know,
Yeah.
we've got to do the covering the Olympics thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, there'll be hundreds of thousands and millions of people. But before we do that, I am going to explain to you the rules of cricket.
Why would you?
If I can find it, I'm going to get you a DVD of the best of cricket.
I would
The
rather.
last one.
How about we could get Dorf on cricket?
Dorf on cricket?
Yeah.
Better. Yes.
Why would
That
you?
was a joke for all the 40-plus-year-olds listening to the podcast.
What?
Yeah, you don't know who Dorf is, and yeah.
Why would you watch a sport named after the insect that's responsible for the default sound of nothing happening? And also,
Actually, cricket's cricket makes a
He's
lovely
thought
sound.
about this so much.
yeah,
You were just angry at cricket.
You're a hater
would
tonight.
rather-
What is wrong with you?
I
Wow.
would rather watch 5-year-olds perform. No, 5-year-olds pantomime Atlas Shrugged than watch a fucking cricket.
And do you know what's the funny thing about what my Bulgarian? I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him a Yugoslav in a minute. The interesting thing about what my Yugoslavian friend here says is that more people watch cricket than any other sport. And you
people.
still haven't
There's a lot
come
of dead
up
people.
with the sport that more people participate in. But let's have a look at you two, Jason. Jason, what do you think?
Well,
For
mine,
you.
actually, Josh mentioned a moment ago because he said it was an activity, and it is an activity, but watching billiards, ESPN used to have billiards on for a while, then they have 9-ball tournaments. 9-ball
Do you mean
tournaments-
billiards, snooker,
billiards?
or billiards
not
with
snookers.
mushrooms?
Yes, billiards,
Right.
not snooker. But then they would have 9-ball tournaments, and watching people play 9-ball, that's a far tougher sport than just 8-ball.
Pool.
It's far tough. Yeah, it's far tougher. And seeing someone use their skills and their finesse and the strategy of how they leave shots, both offensively and defensively, that's just I can just watch that for hours.
That's what's
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Well, I love the trick shots.
Yeah,
They're fun.
Well, no, I mean they used to do like a trick shot competition, but that definitely is more of an activity. Whereas, 8-ball and 9-ball, those are more of a sport because there's more competition.
Jane, what about you? What sports would you watch if you were able to?
I think it's an activity.
I like archery.
Do you?
I don't care for compound bows, but
She's
I'm
an
really
Amazon.
interested in longbow archery.
Really?
Cool.
Do you shoot?
I do.
Do you shoot longbow?
I do.
That's fucking cool.
Gina Davis almost made the Olympic team like a couple Olympics back. The actress Gina Davis was so good at archery that she almost made the Olympic team. That was amazing.
I like how she
cool.
just put us all to bed with that. Like she's like, oh,
I wasn't
like-
expecting to. I thought it was
I
going to
like
be geeky or something.
No.
billiards, and I like this. I like the, and I hate cricket. but I like bow and arrows.
You
All right.
see, a bit of trivia here. Now, do you know about the connection between this? When you give someone the finger, do you know that story
Yes.
all about that? And just because you should do if you
Yes.
shoot longbows, are you going to share it with us?
Basically, if you got captured, they would cut off your middle finger so you couldn't shoot anymore. You'd be useless. So you would show your middle finger to prove that you were still useful and you hadn't gotten captured. And then, that was
The
it.
French were very
Either you're
civilized
useful.
people when they caught the British bowmen. Right, they didn't execute them; they just topped off their finger. And so the British bowmen, Agincourt and places like that, would stick up their middle finger at the French. We've been sticking our fingers up at the French
They just
for
she just
thousands
said
of
that.
years.
The
Yeah,
British
I think it's
bowman
great.
is
That
a
makes you
great.
feel good, doesn't it?
Yet,
Yeah.
you
He
might
just
not have your middle
paraphrases me
finger,
so much
but you
better.
can still
Yeah.
grip a cricket bat.
The British bowman is a. British bowman is a
So,
great.
so would you want to like chop someone's hand off?
Yeah.
So they couldn't grab a cricket bat, or do you want to like poke their eyes out?
I would rather watch Donald J. Trump watch Fox News for 8 hours, then watch fucking cricket.
Man, that's wow, that might be over the line right there. That's wow.
Hatred is so- I didn't know somebody could.
How dare you, sir?
You know the hybrid sports. There's hybrid sports, very few of them, but like biathlon is a hybrid sport where you ski and you also shoot. But there's a hybrid sport. If you might have seen it, it's chess and boxing together.
I have not seen this.
You haven't?
No.
It
Do
was
they
all
have
over
to
the
take
internet.
their boxing gloves off to move the
Yes,
chess?
yes. They box one round, then
Same as
immediately
something
they
else.
place a chessboard and they play a chess. Then they box another round.
You're
another-
serious?
Yes,
This is a real thing.
Yes, it's a real thing, and it was
Okay.
actually for a while was really popular.
Okay, can I just say we are fucked up as a species? That's messed up.
If we come
Who
up
gets
with
CTE
It's
first?
still
Do you
more,
have to
That's
take?
what we
do
do.
they
more
have-
exciting than fucking cricket.
Now, I have to ask, because there are people listening to this, and my job is to ask the questions they can't. Do they have to take their boxing gloves off to actually move the pieces, the chess pieces?
What I've seen is they take the boxing gloves off and they actually play a serious game of chess before they resume and box again.
Why can't they just do this?
Wait a minute. So
No.
they have to play an entire game of chess before they box the next round?
I think it's speed chess.
You can play speed
So-
chess in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's very interesting. But I was coming up with other hybrid sports
is
like
messed up.
way back. I was thinking, what else
It's
could
very
be a
stupid.
good hybrid sport? I was thinking, you know how there's relays in the Olympics where you run 100 meters and you give the baton to the next person they run? So I was thinking shot put relays where you run with a shot put and you give the shot put to the person. Or maybe
And
shot
then you have
put...
to go fish.
Yes,
Yeah.
fish.
And you have to go bass fishing.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
No, you'd have to throw the shot puts to each other.
Yeah. Oh,
Fly fishing.
shot put tennis.
fishing.
You'd have to
shot
catch
put
it.
tennis.
Shot put fly fishing.
The javelin. Catching the javelin.
Catching the javelin.
You run
is
the 100
good.
meter and
Yeah.
you throw it, and the other person has to catch the javelin.
Yeah. I've thought of that
Another
too.
one, a Scottish one,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, like this, is tossing a caber and catching it.
No, they don't.
We could do the whole cheese roll down the hill.
Well, that's another one.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's another one.
the cheese roll
Again,
down.
that's definitely not a sport. That's
Into
next
a
level.
into
Shit, I was gonna
a
be
lake
impressed.
where you dive. So you roll,
Right.
you have to stand, and then dive.
Well, I'm still going back to tossing the caber and catching it. I like that one.
We'll see.
You know what would be cool to? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know what would be really cool to bring back? I don't know if I mentioned this, but jousting, like actual
I would
real
watch the hell out of
jousting.
that. Yep.
Hells yeah!
They do.
Yeah.
That's
they
amazing.
do
To the
do it.
death.
It's rare because
At the
it's so
Renaissance
dangerous.
Yeah,
They do
no,
something.
not
Real.
staged
I want to bring
crap.
back yard
I mean,
darts.
real.
Yard
Ooh,
darts.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Competition yard darts.
Only because I'd want to watch maybe somebody get impaled.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That's
I love
that's,
that
It's
game.
interesting.
That's why I
None of
watch
you
hockey.
mentioned darts. As we
I thought
have
about
here
darts
at
as well,
Conroy's.
actually.
Because it's an activity, not a sport.
It is a sport. It's not an
an
official
activity.
sport, is it?
It's an activity.
There's always
They
a
should- they need to bring
controversy.
back-
about
Okay,
shit
what's our
like
definition
this.
of sport? Do you work up a sweat?
It's like cheerleading. That's not a
In,
sport. That's an
uh,
activity.
Yeah, you work up a sport playing darts because you have to lift those heavy pints.
Why is there always a debate
It's a
about
skill.
this?
They
Let's
need to
move.
bring back the strongman competition, the world's strongest man.
Amen.
Love that stuff.
I just want to watch Magnus on Magnus and just tear it up.
See, I would have to say if they bring it back, they have to disqualify everybody named Magnus.
Why?
So that you
Because they
can
know
get
he's
some
gonna
new
be a badass?
And they're not
Exactly.
allowed to. Yeah, and they're not allowed to pull Volvos because the Swedes always win these things. They practice with Volvo trucks.
An
don't they?
Englishman just won the last one, Eddie Hall.
You know what would be cool is
So-
pole vaulting over a 10,000 volt electric wire.
While playing cricket.
While playing cricket?
Yes, that would be cool. Yes,
Cricket players doing it.
yes, please, please,
They
if
need
possible.
to watch cricket.
Oh no.
Not even that.
No, not even that. All right.
Okay.
I would
oh,
rather
so-
watch a beach volleyball tournament of retirement homes than watch cricket.
In bikinis.
Speedos, please,
Okay,
please.
girls and boys, why are political, answer me this question, why are political statements at award ceremonies like the Emmys, Grammys, and Oscars inappropriate? Jason.
I'm not really
Why
sure
are-
they actually are inappropriate, to be honest.
Good
I mean,
answer.
you have a right to say whatever the hell you want, and if you want to voice your opinion on something, and granted you have that opportunity to actually have your opinion heard on a mass scale, I think anybody who really had passion and really cared about an issue, whatever it may be, I mean, they have a right to say it. And so I really don't know if I would ever say it's inappropriate. it may not be something that people are tuning in for, and that's why maybe people feel it's inappropriate, because you might think, I don't really care what they say, I just want to get to the next award, and that's understandable, but the recipient of that award, they have every right to say whatever the hell they want.
Cut, you've had your 4 minutes.
Oh, is music playing? Do I need to get off the stage?
I was just going to say, I'm going to piggyback off of what Jason said, because what he was saying, basically, it still ties into the whole taking a knee. We've had this conversation before, you and I. I mean, everybody always bitches about these athletes, actually using their platform to say things. And when they don't say things, then they get they get scrutinized for not. Why don't you use your platform to stand up for something, et cetera, et cetera? But apparently it has to be the right type of demonstration.
Agreed.
If you're going to use that platform, it has to be what everybody else feels you should be using it for. If these people, and the Grammys and the Oscars and whatever, they've been in the limelight, they get scrutinized all the time. If they want to say something, they should be able to. Why not use your platform to put an opinion out there?
Josh.
I thought about this when I read it earlier, and at first I agreed with you guys. I was like, oh, yeah, they should be able to say whatever the fuck you want, right? But the reality is, it's still what the left wants you to. When they stand up there, it's the left saying something. If somebody stood up there at the Golden Globes or whatever and said, oh, I think Trump is awesome, or whatever, they would get booed off. Or if they took some left or right-wing stance on something, then they would be booed off the stage. And so I think it's a really biased place to make you feel good about where you are in your area.
Maybe.
That's a good point, actually. I mean,
maybe
they all think the same in that room.
Yeah.
And if you think differently, then you're scrutinized for thinking differently in there. And that's why you don't hear from them.
Yeah, I mean, if you support white
You don't hear 'em-
supremacy or hatred or
Is that a
homophobia, they might boo you. I feel like
But it's always been that way. Not even in this era, though. It's
no.
always been if you disagree.
I think part of it though is when people make statements in that kind of forum, they're making statements to try and get people thinking, to try and create change, not necessarily to try and give
Cheer the
kudos.
system.
Give kudos to the status quo. I think they're using that platform to try and create change, not necessarily say, "Hey, things are working out. Everything's good."
And the proof of that is you can stand up there and say, God bless America, and get cheered, like, from now until the cows come home. But you say one thing about the way that America needs to change, and all of a sudden it becomes a political upheaval, and how dare you bring politics into the conversation. No matter the fact that we literally start every sports game with, like, jets flying over the sky, and like there's all this political stuff in pretty much every single thing that we do for entertainment. Like, there is already this baked in political
It's propaganda.
diet. Exactly. So if somebody comes in, sorry, I get worked up about this particular topic more so than anything else, because there is this notion that to be critical of America is to somehow, like, dislike it or not be appreciative of what you have,
Or to be a bad American.
or to be a bad American.
Yep.
And that is just, like, so completely opposite of where the sentiment comes from. So for me, the whole notion that, like, people are being castigated for expressing their opinion on the place that they live. Like, who else are you going to listen to? Who amongst us, who has the time to really develop an informed political opinion about what's going on while you're working full time? Like, of all the people that have that possibility, actors and musicians are the ones that quite literally have enough time in their day to do it. And we then say,
all
these
right,
are the people that we're not going to...
here I go. Okay.
Come on, bring it
So
on.
for somebody that works in a field with people that are treated as the others and that are told that they can't have a house or a place to live or whatever, and you get these rich people that stand on stage and talk about this bullshit, right? But the fact is, nobody's talking about Baltimore. Nobody's talking about the homeless in Lawrence, Kansas. Nobody's talking about that stuff.
I think
They're
that
standing
they
up there
would, though.
because no, they wouldn't. Because they all have an agenda just like everybody else. They want to feel, oh, guess what? I won an Oscar, and guess what? I'm going to say this thing too because I'm awesome. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit.
You see,
It's all
usually,
fake.
usually
Acting bullshit.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree.
It's not fake news, but
Yeah.
bullshit.
I don't agree, and there's many reasons, many reasons. One of them is usually the argument on the right, and you go on the radio shows and listen to Russian, and they say, "Oh, who are they? They're not career politicians. They have no information. They're misinformed. They have no experience, and they're using the forum to the tribunal."
Who does that sound like?
Let me think about
does that
another
sound like?
television guy that has already a book in his life. He's has climbed on a pedestal of lies, misinformation, and hatred, homophobia, and he's spewing propaganda and crap, not every fucking day, and using it to corrupt minds, to poison this country, to poison masses, millions of misinformed people. And you're gonna tell me that this pussy dribble of yellowy freaking snot has the right to talk more than Meryl Streep did at last year's Academy Golden Globes, and let's not. I hate it when people say, "Who are they to talk?" You know, they're actors, but nobody pays attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what they're saying. Are you disagreeing with what Meryl Streep said? Are you? Did you listen to her? Did you listen to her statement? Did you listen to Tom Hanks' speech in 1994 when he won for Philadelphia? Oh no, he's an actor. What does he know? You know, I would rather listen to Carrot Top for 2 hours than watch cricket.
Pantomime.
Kathleen, I expect you
I
to.
think that everybody has the right to express their point of view on this, and if they've won something, they need to get up there and say what they want to say. If I don't agree with it, then I will feel pissed off that I won't feel happy watching that person in the future. However, that's their risk, you know? They have the right to express that, and there's nothing inappropriate about an awards ceremony that means they shouldn't do it there.
Rush Limbaugh is an actor. Rush Limbaugh is an actor.
It's
Every fucking day, for 3 hours, he's talking shit.
Yeah.
He's an actor. He's nothing. He's nothing. Where's his credentials?
Yeah.
I hear he likes cricket.
What about Dr. Phil? Same thing.
Dr. Phil's.
yeah.
Oh my God.
bullshit.
Oh God.
You know, I have to
Him,
say-
I hate Dr. Hill and Dr. Phil and Dyson the most. Fucking.
More than what if they were playing cricket?
Just Jane.
I have to say, I've been
Just-
thinking about what you said, Josh, and I was thinking about this because I can see, you know, well, they're actors, they've got their agenda, yada yada, but I do feel like there are some old school romantics out there who see the world in a different light, and most people don't see things the way they do. And if they have something to say, then I feel like it's like a facet of beauty that most people will never understand. I'm not saying that many of them are like this, because I can totally, I think the majority of them are just, you know, with their agendas, and they have their, but I really do believe that some of the actors out there, Ian McKellen, for one, I think that Dame Judi Dench, people like this, they have reputations. They got reputations. They have reputations. They have integrity, and sometimes I'll even go with. I really think that people like Tom Hanks as well. You know why nobody ever says anything bad about Tom Hanks? Because there's just nothing bad about Tom Hanks. I'm sure there probably is.
No.
But
There's
I'm
nothing. I
serious.
get what you're saying. Nothing
He has
controversial.
integrity. You can tell. That's why people don't go after him, because there's nothing to go after.
Well,
You
but
know,
see,
and
but
every once in a while,
You talked
He's not
about
a
Colin
Scientologist
Kaepernick,
either,
though.
so.
Like, Colin Kaepernick gets the complaint that he's an athlete, that he's got it made, that he's got no reason to complain. He gets that.
I don't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. That's okay. Go ahead.
But we're talking about when you bring up Colin, right, versus Tom Hanks.
Right.
One's white, one's black.
Right.
There's a very significant race issue that we have. Of course, nobody's going to talk any shit on Tom Hanks because he's Tom Hanks and he's white and rich.
Right.
I don't think anybody talks shit on Denzel.
Here's one for you then.
Everybody likes Denzel.
Everybody, we talk about Tom Hanks, and I say Tom Hanks for president. I've been saying that for years. But a lot of people were also saying once, Clint Eastwood for president, right? And then they pulled Clint Eastwood onto the stage, right? He was smashed as a rat, and
You would like to think he was smashed
and he
as a
did a
rat.
thing with a chair which no one understood.
Yeah.
Ruined his chances of being president.
He's just old. He was just very old.
I want Oprah, to be honest. I want Oprah.
I so
The Rock
absolutely
one.
do
The
not.
Rock to be vice president.
We all gonna get a car.
That's right. We're all gonna get a
You
car.
gonna get a car, and you're gonna get a car, and you're gonna get a car.
Oh, that is never going to go away, is it?
No. This is.
But
You
this
can
is
get
stuff-
cars if you win a cricket match.
Oh my God.
Wait, what if someone gave you a car to watch cricket? Would you watch cricket?
I would.
What if someone gave you a car and would pay off your mortgage if you watch one full game of cricket?
Yes.
Would you do
24
that?
Gave you a
hours
car,
game.
paid off your mortgage, and gave you a blow-up doll.
I would.
And a
rather-
plug-in Father Christmas.
Would you watch cricket? Yes or no? You've got all this incentive. Would you watch cricket?
I-
This is fun.
I'm going to
Let me-
throw in a
I'm
second
gonna
one of
answer
those
it
wolf
with
shirts
one
too.
sentence. I'm going. I would rather. I would rather watch a world championship of parallel parking than watch 1 hour of cricket.
Oh, I like that. I'd watch that.
I think I would
I think I would watch that.
Parallel
just
parking is
for
an activity,
no
not a
reason
sport.
whatsoever, dude.
Oh, can you imagine the
does take a lot of
critiques?
skill, though.
You just be like, no, idiot, crank the wheel.
Now, many of you know that I work in radio, and Ivo, my friend Ivo here from Yugoslavia, they
least it's not
we do a
Transylvania
thing
now.
on the
I
radio.
would rather
every-
watch Stevie Wonder doing his taxes
Did I?
for 3 hours.
Did I? That would. So
I wonder what that form would look like. I mean, that's a lot of braille. I mean, that's.
So my
wow.
Turkish friend said to me the other day when we were doing a show that the Winter Olympics are associated with snow. I don't think it's unreasonable. Most people would say the Winter Olympics are associated with snow and ice. So that's ice and snow. Generally speaking, taking the broad view, it's fair to say that if you turn the
think he's gonna get
TV
to a
on
point today?
at any Winter Olympics, you are going to see snow and ice, with human beings doing things on, around, or associated with snow on ice. Whether they're shooting on it, jumping on it,
He's talking
skiing
about ice.
down it.
You get it?
Drinking highballs.
It's about
with ice in
snow and ice.
Snowballs.
This year, according to the Yugoslavian, this year there is going to be a new sport, a new winter sport,
E-games.
computer gaming. How fucking ridiculous is this? There is no. I have asked the Yugoslavian.
Okay, I'm going to go back for just
And
Wait,
one
are
he
they
has
going to
said
be sitting
that-
in front of the
and
window,
that-
a picture
that
window
is-
with
that
snow?
is an activity. That
They
is
are
definitely not
not
a sport.
going
To
to
quote
be
Josh,
playing.
that is an activity.
They're not going to be playing dee doo out in the
Pong.
snow. No pong in the snow,
Think
right?
about.
Just in front of a
Mr.
picture window.
Bulgarian.
Well, think about where the
Explain
games are.
what's going on.
The games are in South Korea, which is the #1 hub for e-games. The biggest stars in e-games in South Korea make 7 figures a year. They can't walk the streets. They get mobbed by fans.
Very much like Evo.
God, I made a bad
Yes,
commercial.
they have a couple of big ski resorts there. But
Is it real snow or do they make it?
no, it's real. It's real. And Pyeongchang is the ski resort where it's going to take place. It's a small 50,000 population city up in the mountains. It's really close to the DMZ. So yeah, but they're going to have StarQuest 2. StarCraft 2, and they're gonna have Steep, which is actually a kind of a snowboard game. Yeah.
But do they have to play the games with mittens on?
If they play them in the snow, I agree that they should. They should be a
So
Olympic sport.
maybe
in
we
the
should
Winter
start
Olympics.
thinking things outside of the boxes versus summer versus winter, right? Because there's lots of places that have winter that have zero snow. So maybe they play video games.
Much more exciting than
Instead-
fucking cricket.
That's still not a sport. I mean, my God, that's.
You know what?
What about
though?
sand
thing.
skiing?
You know what's interesting though? They actually your skills. It's very interesting. In electronic games, you reach a peak around
That-
28 years
that
old,
may be-
and then it's all the way sliding
may
down.
be,
I
but
still, I
that's
started
because
playing
it
Mario
doesn't matter.
Brothers
It doesn't
again,
matter
and
what
I can't
sport
make
it
it
is.
past
Reaction
It's
round.
because
Yes.
your eye
It's
hand.
got nothing to
I
do
have
with fucking snow
Hold
or
on for
ice.
just a second. Olympics were started to highlight the skills that were needed in military operations, like all of the stuff that was in the original Olympic Games.
And how does
This is where I'm going. Let me
No, I know-
let me finish.
I know where
Let me
you're
finish.
going.
Let me finish.
I know
Let me
where you-
finish.
Would you let me finish? Would you let me finish? Ross Perot. Nobody gets this reference to Ross
Look,
Perot.
this whole
You got
e-game
it.
stuff, it's sponsored by cocaine and boner pills. That's really all it's sponsored, and Mountain Dew, and that's it.
But still,
I'm just saying.
but
man.
still, right now, those hand-eye coordination skills that they're developing, the ability to sit at a terminal and use it, are military skills.
But you need to do things like develop muscles and your lungs and your heart and sitting on your
If
ass.
you're fighting last year's war, next year's war might literally be fought with
fine-
you sitting in that seat, me sitting at
Fine
this seat.
motor skills are still physical skills.
They are physical
Guys.
skills, but
Okay.
it's not a sport.
Playing a decent video game is a matter of training and skill of your body. Not everybody can do it.
It's all about money, guys. This is one of the biggest industries in the world, far, far, far outpacing the movie industry.
Isn't it fantastic?
600 million people audience, 600 million audience right now and growing rapidly. You know, in Los Angeles they have
That's a horrible state of our affairs in the world.
I know,
right now, because
I know.
People
Absolutely
are so
not.
they're so willing to spend all of this money escaping reality. That shows you just how fucked up our world is.
It's
Why don't we go out and
completely okay
solve
if we're watching
this?
movies? If we go spend $1 billion this year on movies, nobody gives a flying fuck. If we go spend $500 million on video games, society is coming to an end. And
I love your tech infatuation. It's amazing.
You're just like the tech master.
He is the advocate for every piece of technology.
I am the advocate for change. I am the advocate for saying that what we grew up with is not the be-all, end-all way that society has to be. And the fact that kids...
not saying that it is.
Hang on
The fact
just
that
a
kids
moment. Of course
want
it
to
is.
spend their money, instead of doing something that is completely passive and reactive, they want to be engaged in something that they have some say in. And the 40-year-olds plus in the room say, society's going to hell in a handbag. And that is the thing that I fight against universally.
You know what's interesting?
Hell in a handbag.
You know, I think Meryl Streep should stand up on stage and talk about how the
talk
E-games
about
are really and be
this-
like, hey, the E-games are their sport. I won an Oscar.
I would rather watch the drummer for Def Leppard play Donkey Kong than watch cricket.
Evo,
Very
that
subtle.
is too goddamn soon.
That is very subtle.
You do know you're going to hell, right? I mean, wow.
And why
I'm
did
so
they say
sorry.
going to hell in a handbag? Where did that come from? That's such a weird saying, isn't it?
You've never heard that?
You know
I've
what's
heard it
interesting?
before,
Those E-games in Los Angeles.
It's not interesting.
In Los Angeles, there's a huge tournament, and it's collecting thousands of teams. And what's interesting is the U.S. team lives together in a camp, like almost 12 months a year. They live there and prepare with coaches, physical fitness.
We need to talk about what the word interesting means, because that's not interesting. That's
It's more interesting than
kinda
cricket.
scary, actually.
Oh my god, poor cricket.
Oh my God.
What the hell?
Tom Conroy, what are you doing to us? Damn Facebook, damn you Facebook.
Now, the
It's finding all
question
kinds
is,
of weird
ladies and
pictures.
gentlemen, boys and girls, we
Based on the
can...
wrong people.
Yeah, I was like, why'd you make Evo the white guy?
Yeah, why isn't even,
They have thrown up a picture
That's not right.
on the screen.
I look very demonic. I look very demonic on that picture.
It's
I
not
have
Starsky and Hutch. Who is it?
That's Crockett and Tubbs.
We have to explain to the listeners.
Yes,
What's
let's try and
happening?
explain to the listeners what just happened.
So Conroy put on the big screen a picture of Miami Vice, the Miami Vice guys, but instead of their heads, he replaced their heads with my head and Luis's head. Pictures discovered on Facebook from like 20 years ago.
But he,
I thought it was
but he
Lewis
had
and El
me,
DeBarge.
the black guy, as Crockett, and Evo as Tubbs. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's dude. That's like a bush league.
I'm taking a
mistake
knee.
right
Yeah.
Okay, so we come to the conclusion that you seem to think that it's okay having computer gaming,
Yeah, he fixed it.
having computer gaming. Jane doesn't. Jane disagrees.
I write it all over the
disagree.
town.
Jane,
I should hear it by now.
Why do you disagree, Jane?
I'm leaning more toward what Jason is saying. I think it's an activity. I can see what you're saying, and hey. Hey. And I'm a gamer and I love games, but I just I'm not sold with this. I just am not. And you made sense, Dr. Orlando. You really did. But
Thank you. Appreciate it. It doesn't happen very often.
Meh.
I could sit there and hone those skills that you're talking about, just learning how to play guitar and teaching myself how to play guitar.
And I would have no problem with a guitar-based
Is that a
event
sport?
in Olympics.
Guitar Hero.
There you go.
But here you go.
My God.
Here you go.
hold on,
The guys
hold on. I
who
will
were
say
in
that
the
you just did,
original
Josh. My head's now
Olympics
just
back
blown.
in Greece,
Yep.
back in the day, 2,000 years ago, whatever it was, we talk about Olympics, Mount Olympus. Those guys who competed then, who would be flogged literally to death if they showed any emotion, if they won a race because they were running for the gods. You could take them to the Winter Olympics today and they would recognize sports, they would understand the sports because it's physical.
Yeah.
Except that
There
they
is
were very
nothing-
cold 'cause
there
they
is-
played naked.
But
Yeah,
there's always
but
been
they-
there's always been pushes to put non-sporting events in the Olympics. Chess has been bandied about for years. Poker's been bandied about for years. Bridge has been bandied about for years. It is a supposition of the folks at this table that it has to be sport based. I submit
Oh, the
that
French,
not only does
what
it
an
not
amazing-
have to be-
Sport-based.
Yeah.
That's the argument that I'm hearing. Like you can't.
I don't give a shit.
Right.
If you want to put it in the Olympics, because Olympics is crooked as fuck, right? So if you want to put it in there and want to watch it, then
2 points
cool.
to Mr. Josh.
There you go.
I agree. Like there's.
I don't watch any of
The-
them anyway. They can do what they want.
Yeah, I agree.
The ancient Greeks only had Pong.
They did. That is true. There was only Pong when they were
Isn't
doing
it?
it.
Never mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you've been listening to another Wednesday Night Undressed, but we would like, as always, to thank our sponsors for tonight, and Evo is in charge of that.
We're sponsored by Napster. Sean Fanning himself. I talked to Sean Fanning himself, the creator of the revolutionary peer-to-peer network, and he told me personally that he's going to sponsor us with every single penny that he made out of Napster. From what I hear, that's a number that involves a lot of zeros. Our accountant here, Dr. Lewis, has crunched some numbers. Can you tell us, please, how many dollars are we going to get from Sean Fanning's Napster?
That'd be $0.
Zero. What? What? Oh, swindled again. Darn it, darn it, darn it.
You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed. I'd like to thank the team, of course, the indefatigable Kathleen Taylor, Jason Springer now, the marvel of bohemian sophistication, Jane Carter, the Dark Lord of literature, Ivo Ivanov, the magic Dr. Orlando, and just Josh, who's giving a cheese order. Thank you for coming, Josh.
I'm
My
taking
name's
a knee.
Jeremy Taylor. Thank you very much for listening. Want to thank our engineer and producer, Neil Rasmussen, and, of course, Eric, the producer.